Hey, how are you? My name's Felt. Welcome back to Destiny. This is a game I don't make too much content on. However, I am going to make content on harder stuff when I choose to. As you can see from this ship right here, I cleared Master King's Fall. And if you don't know, like, how that proves anything, it's because it's from the One True King triumph. That's where this ship comes from, if you didn't know. I'm going to be talking about what I used, my general Warlock build, which I brought for my raid team, because we have tons of Hunters and Titans in my raid team, and just in general, like, my weapon choices and stuff that I recommend you use. Let's talk about my Warlock build, because it's what I used for the entirety of the raid, because I just thought it was that powerful. There were some minor tweaks here and there, but overall, this is what I used. It was a Boots of the Assembler Warlock build, where I was using Ember of Benevolence to get back my abilities much, much faster. Now, why Ember of Benevolence when it's gotten a lot worse than it used to in the past? Well, it's because Boots of the Assembler proc it. The Beneficiar Seeker projectiles, the healing ones especially, will proc that, so you will be constantly regenerating everything a little bit faster because of that. Now, as for the rest of the parts of the build, it was really straightforward. It was essentially an elemental ordnance build of I throw grenades, I then make 2 solar wells from bountiful wells in my chest piece here, and I have 2 stacks of Font of Might with elemental time dilation so that my solar weapons did more damage. I changed it up once at totems because we were having trouble surviving, to where I swapped my build out a little bit to a Reaping Wellmaker and Well of Tenacity build, to where that anytime I threw down my Rift, which was quite often due to Benevolence, Boots of the Assembler, I would kill an enemy and then make 2 Void Wells, which my team could use. And because we had a handful of Hunters that were running Void, it was quite beneficial to them. And just as a whole, if anyone else is running Well of Tenacity, they could pick up my Void Wells for just a little bit of assistance in that manner. Weapon-wise, let's talk weapons. As you can see, I actually took in way more weapons than I have equipped right now, but these are the ones that I found the most valuable. Heritage can be replaced with any other kinetic shotgun, IMO. However, it was probably my most effective choice in the slot. I did technically use Arc Warlock for the opening encounter just for faster sprint, but that's because the opening encounter can kind of be whatever. The shotgun, or the pulse rifle, is non-negotiable though, because there are unstoppables in there if you are a runner. So, yeah, bring one of those. Otherwise, my other anti-champion weapon of choice was actually Le Monarch. There is a handful of Overload champions throughout the course of it, and Le Monarch, because of the way that it functions as a weapon, is a very, very powerful Overload option. In case you don't know, it fires poison arrows. That Overload. The thing is, the poison tick, if you procced the Overload proc, in the first place, the poison tick will continuously overload stuff. Meaning that if you just keep spamming poison arrows, they will never truly regenerate their HP and they will just slowly get plinked down. So it's a War Priest or at Oryx where there is Overload Hobgoblins that are being pains in your ass, you just kind of spam Le Monarch into them and they just get plinked down. I did also use at one point during War Priest, if I can find it in my dim. Hold, please. There it is. I did at one point use a Strident Whistle during War Priest because there was a lot of solar shields and because I was using Arbalest, which is now the next weapon I'll get into, Arbalest. There's a handful of anti-barrier champs in the later fights. Arbalest is pretty powerful for that, and overall it's just a good thing to proc bait and switch with as well, but that's for DPS talk later. My other favorite weapons of choice were Deliverance. Deliverance did so much work during totems. It was insane. My loadout for totems was actually Deliverance with Insidious for unstoppable / ad killing. And then Yellowhorn. Yellowhorn was also being used on Daughters because, Daughters, they take tons of damage from rockets because of the way they work. But during totems, because of the massive amount of enemies that were spawning and the fact that unstoppable champions show up that you need to kill very, very quickly, 1 Yellowhorn rocket plus 1 double explosion sticky grenade was more than enough to take care of them. I realize I'm kind of going everywhere with this, but you can pause and rewind and whatever, any parts of this video. Healing Rift, Burst, Glide, Celestial Fire, Fusion Nades, Icarus Dash, Touch of Flame, Ember of Benevolence, Ember of Wonder, Ember of Searing, Ember of Torches. Those are just my personal choices that I enjoyed using for whatever reason. You saw my armor loadout. You've seen almost all of the weapons. This is by far what I consider to be the most important thing to bring, though, is a heavy linear that you can use very well. I personally am a big fan of bait and switch. I think I can use bait and switch very well. It is also solar, so it synergized very well with my build if my teammates could make solar wells, or if I could make solar wells and give myself just that little bit of extra damage. Depending on the fight, my loadout with it would change a bit. During War Priest, it was Arbalest, Strident Whistle, Cataclysmic. During Golgoroth, it was actually Izanagi Mini Tool Cataclysmic, because Izanagi does a big chunk to Golgoroth's crit spot, and because of how long you spend swapping between puddles, you can reload everything pretty effectively. And during Oryx, it was actually Succession Le Monarch, and then Cataclysmic. The bottom line is I would always use a sniper or linear of some sort in the kinetic, and then something generally easy to proc as my second hit in my energy slot, and then Cataclysmic as my heavy to get that huge bait and switch bonus. I am using a double enhanced one. I use enhanced battery for 6 in the bag. I have boss spec on it. I believe I'm running the range masterwork for lack of drop off, which kind of helps at Oryx a little bit. It was fine. This is just in general what I was using. Forbearance got a little bit of usage at Daughters for ad clear. All of these weapons that I have in my inventory got great usage. The bottom line is you need to just bring what works for you, though. These are my recommendations and my choices. There are a bunch of arc shields at the very end, but you'd be surprised at how much you can just ignore them if you just spam the Monarch into enemies with arc shields. The constant poison dot makes it so the shields don't uptick. So you can just kind of keep spamming Le Monarch into them, and if someone else has arc, they'll eventually help you, and if not, you'll eventually take the shield down. This is what I use, this is my suggestions, this is my everything. Just a quick little video, because I know of even a handful of my friends who are hardcore into Destiny that had some struggles throughout various portions of the raid, so maybe if they or you, dear viewer, see this, you might take some hints, some advice, some choices out of this, and be like, oh, well, this weapon will work better for me. So thanks for hanging out and watching. Subscribe if you want to see more. Liked if you liked it. Blah, blah, blah. Hope to catch you in the next one.